Supreme Court on identification of Agamic temples. Agamic temples, what are they? So you write this. Agamic temples, what are Agamic temples? First give this heading. Agamic temples follow Agamas, which are ancient Hindu religious texts that prescribe strict rules for rituals, worship, and priesthood. These temples follow specific customs and traditions for how worship should be done and who can perform it. So these are Agamic temples following specific customs and traditions, and there is also rules and regulations about who can perform these customs. And in the end you write one more line, that the non-Agamic temples do not follow these strict texts and may have more flexible practices. So now with these definitions, you might have understood that what are Agamic temples, and Supreme Court has given, an order for identification of Agamic temples. And after identification of these temples, only those Agamic practices or those practices which are followed in the Agamic temples strictly will be followed. On May 14, 2025, Supreme Court of India asked a committee set up by the Madras High Court to identify Agamic and non-Agamic temples in Tamil Nadu within 3 months. Until this identification is complete, no new priests, archakas we call them, should be appointed to Agamic temples. Once the process is over, the state can appoint priests to the non-Agamic temples. The state can then appoint to non-Agamic temples, but in Agamic temples, those procedures will be followed. This was what are Agamic temples. You've written all these points. Who will identify the temples, which are Agamic and which are non-Agamic? A committee which is headed by Justice M. Chokalingam, a retired judge from the Madras High Court, will do the identification. One member, MP Satya Velmurugan, has been removed from the committee due to objections raised with respect to that person. The special focus of this committee will be on the Rameshwaram temple. Supreme Court also ordered the Tamil Nadu Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Department, HR&CE Department, to fill the vacant positions of priests and temple workers called Maniyams at Ramnath Swami temple in Rameshwaram. These appointments must follow the temple's traditions and religious customs, clearly highlighting that this is an Agamic temple. What was this case about? So a group of traditional temple caretakers, Sri Rangam Koil Miras Kankarya Paralegal Sangam, this is a group, an organization, they filed a petition. They said that they are only concerned about Agamic temples, not others. In Agamic temples, diluted practices should not be followed. No one should be, mishandling the affairs of Agamic temples which are being mishandled. So that is why this petition was there, and that is why the formation of that committee and all has been done. Their main concern was that non-qualified or non-traditional people were being appointed as priests in Agamic temples, going against the age-old customs. The state governments had its own viewpoint. They said that why only people from the Brahmin fold should be allowed to be the priests with adequate learning, training, teaching. Members of the other caste fold can also become priests. They can also perform those practices. They had a secular viewpoint, but the courts have said that in Agamic temples only Agamic practices, those traditional age-old practices. One of these is that someone from the Brahmin fold only can be the priest over there. However, the court said that these kind of secular practices can be followed in the non-Agamic temples. So This is where religion, customs, tradition, modernity, secularism, they wanted to form, they wanted to place any person who is worthy in Agamic temples as the priest, the state governments. This is a modern, I would say, principle. So how modernity has come in conflict with traditionality in India? This is very common in India because we are transitioning as a society. We are transitioning from a traditional society to a modern society. And these kind of things are common in such societies. There will be conflicts and judiciary will have to step up to resolve those conflicts and to set a precedent which is justiciable, which is acceptable, and obviously which is sustainable, means it should be long term. So what did the lawyers say? The senior advocate Dushyant Dave said Agamic temples are very important and their traditions must be protected. No doubt about this fact. He also said that petitioners are even challenging the stipends, the payments given to trainee priests. Though the state said it's just training Hindus of all castes, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. This is the caste fold. State government said it is training Hindus of all castes to serve as priests. They're following a more secular approach, they said. The background of this: in November 2023, the Supreme Court ordered a status quo. No changes on priest appointments in Agamic temples. This was in response to claims that Tamil Nadu government was trying to appoint non-believers or non-traditional individuals as priests. Government replied that appointments are secular matter and that it wants to train Hindus of all backgrounds to become priests under HR and CE department supervision. So Supreme Court has said it, but the state government is not willing to adhere to it. But it will have to, because judiciary is there. What's next? The next hearing will be in September 2025, since 3 months time has been given to identify temples, Agamic and non-Agamic. By then, committee is expected to finish identifying Agamic temples and the court will decide the next steps. So, this is what is going to happen.